Got a busy show here on Chicago Bears Now. Caleb Williams is ready for this moment and for the NFL playoffs. Cole Kmet made an important statement that I think Bears fans will be excited to hear, and we'll get to the latest Bears and Packers injury news as well. My name is Harrison Graham. It is Wednesday, which means we're 3 days away from the game against Green Bay. This is Chicago Bears Now. Let's get into it. Caleb, ready to go from a mental standpoint. Obviously, the game planning aspect of this is ongoing throughout the week, but he spoke to the media yesterday and expressed supreme confidence heading into his first playoff appearance. He said, quote, "I am built for these moments. Mentality-wise, how I've worked, I've been in a bunch of big games before, big rival games. I believe I can provide a spark for the team and do what my team needs me to do. I feel that I have grown tremendously so far this year, and it's exciting to see. At this moment, it's at an all-time high for myself of confidence. I'm going to go into the game that way." And I think confidence and self-belief really does come from the work you've put in. I'm probably way more confident today than I was on my second video, right? Like, I'd probably be horrified if I went and rewatched my second video. It's all about preparation. It's all about reps. It's about putting in the work. So when you put in that work and you see results, which Caleb and the Bears have this year, they should be confident, even though they didn't play their best ball game against the Lions this past week. So I feel good that the mindset and the mentality and the confidence is and should be there with this football team. Ben Johnson had this to say about his quarterback. He said he's a completely different quarterback than when he took this job. We're going to need him at his best. I'm hopeful we're going to get that. And I think, and I've said this all week, the Bears need to be locked in from snap one, from the opening kickoff. And that doesn't mean you go over the top and, have the moment be almost like you're almost too excited. I just mean like you can't wake up at halftime, right? That's been an issue at times down the stretch of the season, certainly last week against Detroit. I'm hoping that's a bit of a one-off. Human nature creeps in. You're already in the playoffs, all that type of stuff. It's do or die, man. You win, you advance. You lose, you go home. So you got to play 60 minutes. Doesn't mean you're going to play a perfect 60 minutes. You certainly are not, but you can't start playing with 18 minutes to go. It's just the stakes are too high. The teams are too good. This is a playoff game. So if you don't play well, doesn't mean you need an A-plus game. But if you don't play at least a B-plus game, you're not going to win. So you've got to do that. To do that, you've got to do it early on in the game, not just late in the game. How confident are you in Caleb Williams? He's certainly confident in himself. Scale of 1 to 10. I feel pretty good. I would go, let's go 8-8. I think he's ready. Doesn't guarantee he'll play well, but I do feel confident that the moment will not be too big for him. I do think he is a bright lights player. He elevates his game in big moments. Again, the key is before we get to those major moments of the game, got to do that earlier. And I am confident the Bears will start out better in this game because in a playoff game, every moment is pretty meaningful because the game can change on any given snap. So I am hopeful that that is the case. Cole Kmet spoke to the media today, obviously one of the veterans on this team, tied with Jalen Johnson as the longest tenured Bear on this football team. And I thought he had a quote that sounds simple, but I think is very, very important. Here's what he had to say. Because he was asked about, going into this game and, what's going to determine the outcome, all that stuff. He says, "It's not about who wants it more. It's about the details." And you might say, well, yeah, you got to want it more, though. But it's like, it's a playoff game between the Bears and the Packers. Everyone wants it. Like, the players want it. The coaches want it. Their players want it. Their players want it. Like, that's kind of fan talk. Like, you got to want it more. You don't think the Bears are going to want it? They haven't been in the playoffs in 5 years. Like, they want it. You have to lock in on the details and the fundamentals. Ben Johnson said in his Monday press conference that there were 6 mental errors in the first 11 plays for the offense. That means they weren't locked in. I think they are hammering that stuff home this week. Like, guys, every snap is really effing important, and it takes all 11 players to do their job, to win this play, to win this drive, to win this quarter, to win this game. So locking in on the little things will have big results, will lead to big results. So I like that he said that because, yeah, like being energetic and feeding off the crowd, all that stuff matters, but like you have to know the details. You have to play with pad level. You can't false start. You can't turn the football over. You have to catch the ball. Like you got to do the little things, otherwise you're going to lose. So I think against Detroit, they didn't do the little things well, and that's why they had to try and have a ferocious comeback. And to their credit, they got it all the way back and tied. But again, you're going to have to play better earlier if you're going to win this game against Green Bay. More to come, including some quotes from Kevin Byard and Montez Sweat, who spoke to the media yesterday as well. Then we'll get to some injury news. But we got to talk about our awesome sponsor first. That is PrizePicks. Whether you're starting a new routine or making player picks for the first time, trying something new can be hard, but in life and on PrizePicks, it always feels good to be right. With high-pressure playoff matchups every weekend and elite hoops action almost every night, the action never stops, and PrizePicks lets you take control. PrizePicks is the only app that offers stacks, meaning you can pick the same player up to 3 times in the same lineup. Want to take more on Caleb Williams' pass yards, rush yards, and touchdowns? Now you can, all in the same lineup, only on PrizePicks. Speaking of Caleb Williams, I got a simple 2-player lineup. You take more or less on the stats available. I took more on his passing yards, and I took more on Jordan Love's passing yards. Now, I might regret that because a pretty nasty storm could be coming through, but I like the way Caleb's playing right now, throwing the football, and the Bears' defense has been struggling. I hope Dennis Allen finds some answers, but 223.5 for Love. If he plays all 4 quarters, I think there's a good chance he's throwing for more than 223.5. So $20 lineup to win $55. One lineup example of thousands that you could enter on PrizePicks. Download the app today. Use our code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That is code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. PrizePicks, it is good to be right. Okay, I want to get to a few other quotes from some vets on this team, and then one more from Ben Johnson. We'll get one from Montez Sweat in a minute, but first, Kevin Byard, who's one of the strongest leaders on this football team. And, you know, I think this is something that the fans will get excited about. He said, "The city deserves a winner, a team that's gonna make a run." I do think this team believes, whether or not the fans do anymore after how they finished the year, the last 2 games with the defense struggle and all that stuff, I do think this team believes that they can make a run. Don't believe me? We'll get to a Ben Johnson quote in a minute, but I think Kevin Byard has been rejuvenated this year. You know, the last few years, you know, Tennessee moves on from him. He gets traded to the Eagles. If you remember the year he spent half a season with them, that was when Sean Desai, former Bears DC, got demoted. They turned to Matt Patricia. That year fell apart. And then last year with the Bears was a disaster. So I think Byard this year has been reinvigorated, led the league led the NFL in picks with 7, and has been a real big leader for this team. And he was last year too, but the team just stunk last year. So I think he also knows, hey, man, I'm 32. Like, how many more big playoff opportunities am I going to get? I certainly would like to bring him back next year, but nothing's guaranteed. So I hope he meets this moment as well and can play well in this game on Saturday and hopefully beyond this week as well. Montez Sweat, who is certainly a polarizing player. You would like to get more production out of him. He spoke to the media yesterday and said, quote, "We're usually packing the cars up, sending everything back home to the home base and getting ready for the offseason. It feels good preparing for the postseason right now." And if you're Montez Sweat, I think he's only played in 1 playoff game. I think he was on that Taylor Heineke Washington football team that played Tom Brady and the Bucs like 4 or 5 years ago. They were like 8 and 9, backed into the playoffs, won the NFC East. I think that's the only playoff team he's been on. So if you're Montez Sweat, it's like, man, you've been on a bunch of losing teams. Like, can we find another gear? Can you give us a little bit more? Because we said it a few weeks ago, and I'll say it again. This is a guy you need to have production. You need Montez Sweat to have an impact. Somebody on that defensive line in these games is going to have to play well, and he's your best guy. So can he step up to the plate? It sounds like Zach Tom is going to play, so he's going to go up against a good right tackle. Can you beat him a couple of times and impact Jordan Love throwing the football? Like he's got to be a guy that makes a splash play or two in these playoff games if you're going to make a run. If he's a total no-show and no one else on that defensive line pops, it's just going to be tough because you don't have a lot of horses there. He's a guy that's kind of like a streaky shooter in basketball. He's not going to bring it every game or every drive or every quarter, but he has these stretches where like, oh man, I've seen him pop in 2 of the last 10 plays. If he could go on one of those runs, that would be huge for this football team because they need somebody to stand out on that defensive line. And then one more quote from Ben Johnson before we get to the latest injury news, and we'll have more this afternoon on the injury front as well, so stay tuned. But Ben Johnson said this, quote, "We're mentally prepared to play for 5 more weeks, 4 games over a 5-week period. That means they would make the Super Bowl. How do you do that? You go out and win the first one. We're going to get ready for this one, and we're going all out for this game." I just think, like, it's not just the words, it's the mentality that you listen to these guys talk. I watched all the press conferences yesterday. I think my guess is after that game and into Monday morning, Ben and maybe a couple other coaches and veteran players stood up and delivered some pretty strong messaging like, hey, it's go time now. Like, we've had this awesome year. It's time to find another gear. It's time to lock back in on the details. It's time to be laser focused, and let's get ready to go on a run. Whether or not they can or they will, that remains to be seen. But you're playing at home. You're the 2 seed. Packers coming to town. They've lost 4 in a row as well. Like, let's lace them up and go play some ball because I think this team, in a wide open year in the NFL, has a chance to do some damage in the postseason. So I'm excited to see how they respond. I'm excited to see if they can get off to a faster start. And I certainly think that the messaging has been strong and clear from the coaching staff this week. And they have these boys locked the F in. Okay, Bears injury report. C.J. Gardner-Johnson, Joe Tryon-Shoyinka still in the concussion protocol. The fact that Tryon-Shoyinka is still a DNP, that would lead one to believe that it's probably an uphill battle for him to get ready for Saturday. As we've said the last several days, I don't expect Gardner-Johnson to be available. Jahdae Walker has been hit with the illness. It's still early in the week. He should be fine, but keep an eye on that. Kyler Gordon, DJ Moore, Rome Odunze, Ozzie Trapillo, all limited. Ozzie's still limited, so fingers crossed that progresses throughout the week. These were estimates as they did a walkthrough yesterday, so today we should know a little bit more. As far as Braxton Jones full, by the way, that's pretty interesting. Nick McLeod full, he should be over that illness. Rome Odunze and Kyler, I do expect them to return. I think Rome will be full today, would be my guess. He was limited last Friday. I think he's probably full. Maybe Kyler's limited and then is a full participant tomorrow, but I think Gordon gets activated from IR, and they'll probably have him on a pitch count, and we'll see how much of involvement Rome Odunze has, but they will clearly have a role for him. I would be stunned if either of those guys didn't play. If they don't, there's probably some kind of setback that occurred. For the Packers, who, by the way, just used like the worst visual graphic of all time, tweeted out or posted their injury list. A couple of DNPs, Bo Melton, who injured his knee, has been playing a little corner and receiver. He did not. He was actually the only DNP. A lot of limited guys across the board, including Javon Bullard. That's actually probably pretty good news for the Packers. He left the last game with the knee injury, so you would think he would play. Edgerrin Cooper, same deal as well. Zach Tom limited. We'll get more on him in a second. Dontavian Wicks is still in the protocol, but he was limited out there today, so it sounds like he's progressing and could clear. Matt LaFleur did say Malik Willis should be available as the QB2 in this game. They did cut Clayton Tune, who was horrific on Sunday, and promote Desmond Ridder from the practice squad. So for some reason, Willis couldn't go. Ridder would be the backup. As far as Zach Tom goes, who did not play in the last matchup, I don't believe. It was one of the games he didn't play in against the Bears. He said he expects him to be out there. Matt LaFleur does. So, again, Montez Sweat, Zach Tom, good on good. Zach Tom's been a better player this year than Montez Sweat, but you need Montez Sweat to make a few plays. You just do. So we'll see if he's able to do that. Predict the score, Bears-Packers. Who you got on Saturday night? I picked Bears 27-24. I could alter that score with the weather. Maybe it's a little less scoring depending on what the weather's looking like. So we'll take a look at that as well. But go ahead and let us know who you got winning and what the score is going to be. My name is Harrison Graham. We will see you guys later this afternoon with another episode of Chicago Bears Now. So hit that subscribe button and lock us in. We'll see you guys soon. Bear down.